the Danny Frawley Centre to Danny Frawley Centre Ambassador. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Justin Koschitzke. Do you want a hug?
You can hug, mate.
We caught up we sort of met when I was a journalist and when Cosby was playing footy, but you don't really know each other. But one of the first things we said when we both grabbed a coffee was, until we moved away from home, the only coffee we ever had was?
Nescafe.
Nescafe. Because when you grow up in a farming community, that's all you have, and that's all you need. Hey, I see Bucks over there. While I think of it, if my memory serves me correct, did you toss the coin against Bucks one day? How did it go?
I did. I got the privilege to captain the Saints for a couple of weeks when Rui broke his collarbone. I got the privilege one night on a Friday night to shake the great man's hand and flip the coin. And
how'd it go for you?
Yeah, I think we won the toss.
Yeah.
Pointed kick with the wind at Marvel Stadium.
And how did you go personally?
I kicked 5 of 3 Brownlow votes, so it went all right.
It went very well. Very well indeed. Cosby, when we caught up the other day and we had our fancy, far more expensive coffee, I said to you...
Can I just elaborate on that? Isn't it funny how you get bored up with something? And I only knew Nescafe because that's what you drink at the farm. And Fraser Garrick came to the Saints the same time as I did. And anyway, the other day I ordered a flat white and he said, that's a bit bland, isn't it?
Did I say that?
Yeah, because you were having your mocha waka.
I was not.
And Fraser, we had a geographical connection because he's Albury or Wodonga and Albury, and he sort of was a big brother, and he took me under my wing and went down to the cafe and said, a large flat white, please. And I'm like, right, a large flat white. And that's just what I've ordered every single time I've been out for a coffee, like how people can influence you, and that's what you stick with. Keep going.
Thank you. He told me before he's nervous. He's not nervous. This bloke's a natural.
Mate, my heart is pumping out of my chest. Right?
Wow, you're doing a super job. Now, normally I'd say, how you going, when I'm chatting to someone, but we'll do it a bit differently. How are you today, 0 to 10?
I'm about a 7 today, I reckon.
7, okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yeah, about that. Been pretty good lately.
What are the difficult days? What numbers?
Yeah, look, you can have a difficult day at a 2 and a 3, and sometimes when it's really hard to function, it's a 0 or 1, and you just have to recognise those days and really nurse yourself through it, and don't go into too much of a spiral, but understand the challenges you face that day and nurse through it.
I understand, or you were telling me that in the past 12
Foundation and the connection back to the St Kilda Footy Club's really loved me back to life, I guess, and given me a purpose. And and we speak about mental ill health, and a lot of people in the room will understand it. But particularly as males, you can go through stuff where you carry a lot of shame and guilt and whatever it is, and you isolate. The thing you want to do is isolate and draw away from everybody and the people that love you. And disconnection and feeling like you're a burden is a major thing in suicidal ideation. So I went through that, where I certainly isolated and disconnected from my family and, all my tribe, I guess, and footy mates and some good people in my life. And the Danny Frawley Centre has given me that connection again to realign with what I love and the people that I know, and the St Kilda Footy Club and old teammates and old coaches, and have a purpose and a centre to actually go to and work on my physical fitness, because that's so aligned with your mental health, and to work with great people. So it's really been a life changer.
You talk of life changing, Cosy. Your life changed forever. 2006 against the Western Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I didn't know it at the time, but I look back and trace back that was the start of the journey on my mental ill health, when I got knocked out, and Gia hit me a ripper, and some of you might remember it. It was very well publicised, and it was significant. It was a fractured skull and brain fluid leaking out my ear, and it wasn't, every concussion serious, but it was a doozy. And that at the time I felt horrendous and spent a bit of time in hospital and went through all the emotions of a brain injury, but I thought it was okay because I'd been couldn't walk, and I could aid walk, and your dignity's gone when the nurse is helping you go to the toilet. The neurologist came in and said, "Look, you're doing well. You put one foot in front of the other, and you're speaking." And I said, "Well, mate, relax. I just got hit the footy ground." He said, "Well, the way you presented and came in, I was worried that you might not be able to walk again." So he was trying to make me feel good, but I carried that, and I came back to play the end of that year because that's what you think you need to do, and that's what men think they need to do, is they put a mask on and stand up and get out there and be a warrior. And the side was going okay, we're going back into finals, and I wanted to be a part of it, even though I felt so bad and so unfit. But to go back out there with that in your mind, like, am I going to walk off today? What's going to happen? Let alone worrying about a game plan and what the coach says and your teammates and what you need to do. So the anxiety of running up the race became very consuming.
So we fast forward, your footy ends 31, most of us would think our life is ahead of us, but that's not what you were thinking, was it?
Well, I was kind of relieved that footy was over and I didn't have to put that mask on, because, I got what I could out of myself. My body was done, and, I couldn't keep up with the kids anymore, and mentally I was totally shot way before I retired, but I ploughed on. But yeah, it was a scary proposition to be 31 and what you put your whole life into and your footy career.
Because school wasn't a big focus on your life, was it?
No, mate, I went to school to eat my lunch, that's about it. But like year 12, I literally did year 12 to get to Corowa so I could get a ride to Wangaratta to train at the Bushrangers. So I think the day after I got drafted, I did the multiple choice on the geography exam and said, "Catches, I'm out of here." So I didn't really have a backup plan after footy. But it's scary, a wife and 2 young kids and a mortgage, and knowing that you've got to go and your identity's taken away, which sounds kind of weird because of the relief that it was over, but the enormity of what was coming, and and not knowing that I was dealing. Well, I knew that I was struggling, but not knowing back then that the repercussions of the concussion and the brain injury wasn't a consideration. Like, that's maybe what was going on. It was a very daunting life.
So you're living up in northern New South Wales. Your St Kilda mates are calling you often. You will not pick up the phone. Tell us why, but also tell us when a little fella with a big, big heart rang, and for some reason you did pick it up.
Yeah, so I moved to northern New South Wales. I'd gone through a marriage separation, and my ex-wife's family lived up there, so she wanted a break, and I went up there just to support the kids and whatever. So that was a part of the disconnecting from friends and the community that I had here. I was small a gig at the Suns, which was great because I was back involved in footy and the camaraderie and the teammanship of that. But COVID hit. That sort of put a line through a lot of the footy department, and I just had to survive. So I was doing jobs that that I didn't enjoy. I was working for a pool builder. I was cleaning pools and driving a dump truck and just trying to survive. And at that stage, I think I was so unwell, it was hard to get up and function. And I think the guys knew that I wasn't going that well. So they were constantly ringing, checking in as their mates did. But you know, if anyone in the room has felt this, they'll understand that the shame and the guilt of, you know, telling people where you are just overrode me. And even though these guys, Joey and Rue and Lenny and these guys that, you know, I'd shared so much with over 13 years, I just didn't want them to know that what I was doing and where I was and what I'd become. So that was that push away in the isolation. And, you know, it got to a stage where I think things were a bit dire and they thought they might lose me. So Joey got on a plane and rocked up in Ballina, and I shit myself. He rings me up and says, "I need you to pick me up on Ballina Airport." And I'm like, "Oh no, he's going to see what's going on." Because you catastrophise and you compare, and comparison's the thief of all joy. It's as soon as you do that, you're just putting yourself down. And I was comparing myself to those guys and what they were up to. And Joey just rocked up and he said, "I don't understand how you feel. I don't understand anxiety. I don't understand what you're going through, but how can I help?" And it was just like the weight of the world just lifted away and that's some great advice that I give to somebody who doesn't understand chronic mental ill health and how to support somebody, because judgment and comparison and you know, it's saying that someone else has got it worse, you need to toughen up, is the worst thing you can hear, because everyone's reality is their reality. And the minute Joey said that to me at the airport, I just felt this sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, I've got someone who loves me and cares for me, who doesn't understand, because that's the thing, you don't understand how I feel. He admitted that, and it was just like that flick of the switch, so let's get going.
We'll let you go. A couple more things I do want to ask. You mentioned the other day you've had 2 lifelines. First one, back home?
Yeah, I went back to the farm. You know, I'm a proud country boy, grew up on a wheat farm, and that's how I understood that the concussion was a major thing, because I was very easygoing. I didn't understand performance anxiety. First 5 years of my footy career, it was just taking in my stride and let's rock and roll. And that was, I think, to do with the country upbringing, the morals and the work ethic. So that's always been a part of me. And when I was struggling, I went back there and it was a sanctuary for me. So I spent a bit of time back there and really grounded myself, and you know, it was a lifesaver for a few months.
And the second lifeline?
The Frawley Centre. You know, and finally putting your hand up. And I think, you know, who said it? Someone said before about, you know, when you're drowning, that you need to put your hand up. You actually need to find that courage to put your hand up, because once you do, there's so many people and so many organisations out there that are willing to help. And you know, the St Kilda Footy Club, who I love dearly, and the Frawley Centre, and these fantastic people, you know, really gave me purpose again.
And your purpose, now that you have a taste of that, you're just running with it, aren't you?
Yeah, I am, because I think I've been given something, and I've been given an opportunity. And footy and elite sport trains you to be so selfish. Like, let's be honest, you've got to just look after yourself and prepare and compete and judge yourself on all this sort of stuff. And you judge so harshly, and it creates a selfish persona. Now that I've been given this opportunity and been to the well and coming out of it, that I don't want anyone to ever feel like the way I felt, and I have empathy for that. So the gift that I've been given is to help and make a difference with anybody around, and to help people understand that it's serious.
Well, highlighting that seriousness, you mentioned a really confronting analogy the other day in regards to physical pain. You'd rather that than what you've been through.
I'd rather break my leg and lie in a hospital with a broken leg or a physical injury 100 times before mental pain. It's very scary.
So you're out there, you're changing lives, you are helping people, you are saving lives. When we had breakfast, Koschi said, "Look, just be aware, I don't love doing this stuff." He is a natural. Is he not a natural, ladies and gentlemen? And the thing that I loved is at the end, and Koschi knows our family story, losing my brother and father to suicide and everything that he's been through. And we both said the same thing. Of course we wish it didn't happen. But in a way, it shapes who you are. And we're here and we're talking from the heart about mental health because we know it and we've lived it. Kosy, you, I could always tell you're a country fella because the country people are just grounded and down to earth. That's no slight on all the city people here. Well, it sort of is actually, but anyway, let's not go into it. But mate, I loved meeting you properly for the first time the other morning over our fancy, expensive Nescafe. I'm so excited to see what you're going to do because I reckon you can do anything. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Koschitzke.
Thanks, Pal.